All right, and we're recording.
So I was talking to my sis, and so she couldn't remember. Not only is it salt, because, tears are salty, but apparently your DNA changes when you cry after, traumatic events, trauma.
Yeah.
Will actually, literally change you.
Okay.
Changes you DNA-wise. Fucking crazy. But anyway, yeah. So hotel suicide rate, the crazy shit that happens in there, and then body harvesting. The unbelieving low barrier to fucking becoming a body harvester.
Since we've actually had listeners, welcome to the Toast of the Weird, where normally we toast to weird stuff all the time.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we've had a death in the family. It's a fair thing to say, right?
Very fair. Very.
All right,
Absolutely.
We've had a death in the family, so it's been on the top of our mind recently. Last week we didn't have an episode because I failed at recording, and I apologize for that. So, if you're sensitive to darker subjects, if you're sensitive to death, just maybe you want to skip this episode. I know all of our two listeners probably might be sensitive to that, but otherwise you can share it if you enjoy it. And there's a dog barking. So we were talking about body harvesting and suicide rates at hotel, but do you want to give a little background on what? Yeah, just go, dude. Just whatever.
I mean, stuff I've looked into a while ago, so this isn't just because of recent things, but body harvesting apparently is really, really easy to get into. It's extremely lucrative because you can just go to some poor dying soul in the hospital and would you like to donate your body to science? And once they sign off on that, you have legal rights to chop their body up and fucking sell it to science or whoever else is willing to pay for it.
So basically you're like a private corporation. You go and you sell this service. We will take care of your cadaver once you are no longer using it.
Correct.
And then you get to either A, charge them for this service, and then B, sell their body parts. Is that what you're talking about?
I think it would, again, not 100% sure on every angle of it, but the easiest way. And then, if someone's dying in the hospital, you don't have to worry about any sort of, any sort of that, ma'am. You don't have to worry about that because we're going to donate your body to science. And, and I think in some cases they may get part or some of their relative back. I'm not 100% sure. I just know on the other side of that, even if you weren't donating their body or your body to science, that some places were being caught just giving cement, sand, fucking rocks, whatever they could find basically as the person's ashes. So not only did the company get paid for cremation, which they didn't do, they got paid on the other side of selling that person's corpse, the cadaver, excuse me.
It's pretty dark. So
dark
I'm sure there's reputable companies out there.
Yes,
that do an honest thing. Mm-hmm. We're not saying that every single company is this way.
Yeah.
But there's a dark side to death. Ooh. Right. Episode title: Dark Side to Death.
I think it was, like I was saying, in Scottsdale, how many years back when I was in the documentary or whatever was going on about it, they were caught in Scottsdale, mother or daughter business duo doing exactly that, selling the service of cremation and then taking their bodies and fucking selling it to science. But that was the worst one. I remember they were just cement and they were giving them rocks. They just didn't even try anymore. If someone's going to open it up, you might just have some burnt wood or whatever, it's ashes. No one may know what the fuck, human ashes look like.
You can't do any kind of investigating on that.
Yeah, because it's literally ash. But they just stopped trying. They're it was straight up fucking sand and dirt and just chunks of gravel. I was wow.
That's how they got caught, huh?
Yep, just being lazy.
Jesus.
But it was just one out of many and all kinds. And again, not only that, but they were just talking about how you could just the way that the thing came across was a little more to the darker side of the humor, but the guy just walking around in a fucking trash bag and gloves and just yep, there's my body, here's my note, officer, goodbye. And I'm just are you shitting me? And they're nope, it's that easy. And I'm wow.
All right, so that's a business model people can get into. I guess that's relative to what we talk about sometimes.
Well, for recent events, and as well, I was looking into public storage before.
Yeah.
Their business models they call the 4 Ds.
No.
I don't remember the last one, but the first 3 stuck with me forever. Their business model, and this is why they exist, people get extra storage for death, divorce, downsizing, and I can't remember the 4th one.
Yeah. Right.
That's why, especially here where we're at, like this shit is everywhere. It is a hugely profitable business because there's almost no overhead once you get the fucking shit started. The tenants pay for everything, lease by lease. Most of them end up leaving their shit there. And you go to auction wars or whatever else crap they have going on now. Storage wars, there we go. That's it, auction wars, storage wars.
Hold on, I'm looking up that fourth D because it...
Right?
The 40s of self-storage. Death, divorce, dislocation, and downsizing.
Dislocation? Wow. What the fuck does that mean? Dislocation? Like moving, maybe, I guess?
Yeah, probably moving. Like, I gotta skip town, you know, I gotta move from Scottsdale, Arizona, all the way over to, I don't know, Maine, small town Maine. So I'm leaving this location, I guess.
Fucking nuts. And was it, fuck, I wish I had my mindset to be able to plug these folks. Great channel. It was an amazing channel. I will remember their name. That's where I came across the whole hotel thing, because they're like, it was interesting very at first, and it got very dark when they're like, you know, stuff hotel you don't know that goes on in a hotel, something like that. And because it goes along with the crime scene cleanup, because we talked about that before, right? Crime scene cleanup. So these companies, they routinely come into a hotel dressed as guests. Because imagine if you're checking in or checking out and you see one of those companies coming or going, the fuck do you think it's going to make you think, right? Or the image of the hotel or
like
whatever.
Crime scene cleanup undercover.
Yeah, exactly. So they walk in acting like fucking goddamn regular guests and shit, looking like normal people carrying luggage and all their shit's in the luggage or whatever. And they're like, here and so from so-and-so, where's the thing? And they fucking take him up there. And I'm like, whoa. And this makes sense, but you don't think about it until afterwards. But a lot of people choose to do that at a hotel because it's nice, it's pristine, it's a good location, it's out of theirs, because usually they've had some sort of trauma that they can't, you know, wherever they're at. And they went on all these stories of like real events that shit had happened, and I'm like, wow.
Holy crap, dude.
Like people that come across afterwards, and like they're like, this one lady had all of her stuff there, and they're like, there was all these bills everywhere and just all this stuff, and I'm like, wow.
So she literally set out the motive and then just went, all right, don't question this.
Pretty much. And there was just all kinds of other, like, I can't even like remember half of the stuff that they talked about. It was dark as fuck.
That is dark as fuck. And if you were experiencing dark thoughts, go ahead and give 988 a call. This is not an okay thing. Like, we're not trying to justify that.
Nope.
But if you need help, go get that help. Call someone. 988 is the suicide prevention line, and they'll be able to plug you into local resources, because that's pretty near and dear and serious.
There's a lot of varying degrees of situations and problems, but everything over time is made better from expressing how you feel. The loneliness, the lack of feeling like you have options. I think that may be a lot of what's in people's mind. There's nowhere else to turn to. I mean, victim of the system that we're in. I mean, our society, just like our healthcare, is not made to prop you up. It's not designed to fucking keep you afloat.
No, you're just a processed consumer. Well, to the major corporations, you're a processed consumer, I'm sure. To your loved ones, to your friends, family, and all the others, you're not just another number. You're not just another dollar.
Right.
All right, we gotta get going. We gotta get moving back. We can keep this rolling, but
yeah, okay. Definitely a lot of the feeling a cog in the machine, and even so with my leave, as nice as my work is being, everything is legal. Looking into, like we talked about before, workers' rights, how like, and this is the disgusting part of this. Who the fuck decided how much time someone else should get off for a death of their family member?
Yeah.
Ranked in tier system? Like,
yeah. Did we talk about that guy from the White House on the podcast before? I know. Well, we might have talked about it and not had it recorded, because that happens on this podcast. But basically, the White House press secretary guy that showed up, and he was like, "Yeah, sorry I was late. My wife was killed in a car accident this morning, so let's go." And all the reporters were just like, no, we're not gonna do this. You need to go.
Whoa, what?
You never heard that?
No.
You never saw that?
Uh-uh.
Oh, man, dude, this is where we need the guy in the chair to Google that so that we could just pull a full Joe Rogan and throw it up on the podcast. Because this dude comes on, he's White House press secretary, comes out, says, I apologize for being a little late. My wife and kids were in a car accident this morning and she died. And so everybody's asking, like, about him, how he's doing. They have that human thing, and he is just this robotaton. I don't know how else to describe it. Robotaton, just like, yes, I am crushed inside, as you can imagine. She's my wife. She is my love of my life. But I have a job to do, so let's do this. Like, the nation isn't going to wait. And I'm like, dude, call in a substitute. Like,
I was just thinking,
fucking take care of that shit.
Someone who's, like, understudy, like, hey, guess what? This is your chance today. You're going to be famous.
There's an intern somewhere who can read the daily briefing to the fucking press because it's all bullshit anyway.
Right? Like, I am not capable of answering any questions, or I'm not authorized. I am here to read the statement on behalf of our department. You know, there are circumstances, preventing so-and-so from being here. Thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Forgive whatever the guy's name was. I forgot what the guy's name was. Forgive him for not being here. My name is John Schnarp. Let's get going. There you go. That's cool. You can handle the business that way. But,
that's a good example.
Take the fucking time off to grieve. Take the time off to be in the moment. Like,
you know what's shitty, though? It reminds me of another podcaster. She was a lawyer. She turned a YouTuber. Not podcaster, YouTuber. And she kept saying, and she's like, how she was supposed to be going to a funeral for one of her family members, and her work gave her so much time off, very minimal. She was working while she was at there, and she was almost about to miss it and something, and she told her boss, like, I'm going, and he's like, what do you think I pay you so much for? What do you think I pay you so much for? Like, we are literally conditioned and designed, and the system in place is the fact that your time is not yours, that your relationships don't matter, business matters, this is what matters, your death doesn't matter, like.
And this is the whole, like, premise of why I wanted to, like, call it the Toast of the Weird, to keep it weird, to be in control of your own destiny, so that way you don't have to consent to this, because as it sits now, that's where I'm at. My boss says I gotta go, you know? Like, you were fortunate with your working situation that you had enough vacation and bereavement leave and all that stuff built up that you could say.
That stuff is a benefit by law. It's not like they do, and this is the more I look into this stuff, because I didn't know about any of this, my last provider, but they probably legally had to do this shit. And when I called out for my father, what I thought was dying at the time, and the way that they went about shit was absolutely legal. But your benevolent corporate bosses don't do this stuff because they want to, out of the kindness of their heart. They're mandated by law to give us a certain amount of time, depending on the rank of your fucking relative, how much time you get off, up to 5 paid days.
5 paid?
5 paid days. And then again, depending on, and again, I even asked for more time because I asked for 2 weeks. I asked for the 5 that I get max. It was 4, depending on the ranking of my relatives. I asked for the max of 5, and I asked for another week off after that. They came back to me with 4 paid days and an extra week off. When I found out we were moving the service, I asked them, like, can I have an additional 3 days for the service, or you can take the 3 days of that, that we had already agreed to. And in my mind, you figure with everything going on, no, of course, sir, please take another 3 days. No, they took the 3 days that we had already agreed to. So I have to come back to work earlier, and, so none of this is because they want to.
Yeah.
They're doing it because they fucking have to. And honestly, I don't know if they could make me come back to work.
Yeah.
In a reasonable amount of time, like even close to that. Like if they could try to, like, well, if you don't come back to work after your 5 days of paid bereavement, you'll be fired. I think I could sue. Maybe. Well, I don't know. That's
I'm no lawyer myself, but they can definitely say this is basically no calling, no showing for 3 days and walking out.
Right? There's just a number of stuff they could do, or depending on how your corporation is willing to work with you and how much they value you as an employee. Yeah, I mean, who knows? All of that. And I learned there were some labor lawyers. I looked up some good guys. Talked about, like, did you know if your employer requires you to download an app, but there needs to be financial compensation for you.
Really?
Yeah. And I thought about that because they push it on us all the time. Like, oh, well, do you have our app? Do you have this app? Do you have, well, we don't, but everything is pushed through the fucking app. So not only, because again, when you sign up for someone's app, really what you're doing is giving away your fucking information.
Yeah, you become the product.
Right,
of those
exactly.
Free apps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're, analyzing all your data. So if your company makes you use their own app for whatever reason, whether it's employee internal conversation, this labor lawyer said that you should be compensated for that. And I'm like, that's something I never thought about, because they push the whole, oh, we don't have to work on the clock, we don't have to respond or whatever. And there's a disclaimer I have to click like every fucking time I open up our employee shit. They're like, oh, by the way, you're not required to do this. And yet they're always like, did you read this? Did you look up this? Did you do that? Are you in here? Did you read that message?
No, I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, my place of employment pays me to use my phone, so because they're not soulless, and I didn't have to fight them on that. They're just like, hey, do you want this phone, or do you want to use your phone, and we'll just pay you for it because that's cheap. So my employer actually pays me for my phone use.
See, that's compensation. Again, it's just all about keeping costs down as little as you have to, and again, that kind of stuff to where no one may know about it, and it's not like someone's beating down the doors of a law firm to get their company sued for, making them use an app. It's just interesting, though, that that's there, and that's something that they could not deny us legally. So if I go to my uppers and they're like, oh, if you the app, and I'm like, oh, yeah, actually, I was looking into that. Can I talk to legal? Apparently, you guys are supposed to compensate me for that. They'd be like, oh, what?
But then on the same side of the coin, they're not actively forcing you to download that app. They're using the social stigma around it, saying, oh, you're not in the loop? Oh, okay. Well, here's that information anyway, slacker.
Depending on...
Yeah, point your mic at your face, dude. It's hard.
Fell.
Yeah, I know it fell, but it's hard to hear you on the recording when it's not that way. Sorry, brother.
No, don't be sorry. That's technical
shit that we're learning every day.
Right. But I don't exactly, I'm not sure how far or the ramifications, because after a while it's coercion. I mean, you can't just conveniently pressure someone over and over and over and to get them to do what you want without it being like, oh, we told them they didn't have to. Yeah, but everything you fucking imply, everything you do
is coercion, like you were saying. Absolutely. All right, brother. Well, is there anything else you want to throw out there? Like, do you want to speak your piece? Because if you want to speak your piece, by all means, speak your piece. But I understand you got shit to handle. I got shit to go handle right now, too.
Yep. No, it's a good day. And folks, everyone reach out to someone if you need help from someone.
988, the National Suicide Hotline in the States. If you're listening outside of the States, please plug yourself in to somebody who cares, because I guarantee you someone actually cares out there. We'll catch you next week.